Good morning, I'm back. It's May 18th. It's a lovely, what was it? Probably about 16 or 17 degrees, but it's going to be really warm today. It's up to 32, so it'll be our warmest day yet. And then some rather drastic change as the week goes along. And in fact, there's even a risk of snow again on Thursday, Friday time frame. Won't stick, but yeah, we could get a little more snow. It's going to be below freezing for a couple of days, nighttime lows, and mixed with moisture. We can definitely use the moisture. In fact, we could get thunderstorms later today. I'm certainly not threatening at the moment. I'm trying to decide where to walk. And I think what I'll do is, because I've been down there, I think we'll go over to College, walk along College, come back maybe along 13th. I don't know what they're doing here, tearing up the sidewalk. Somebody's probably got a water main problem or something, or a water connection problem. They seem to do it a lot in our neighborhood, but it is an older neighborhood. Working away there. Bunch of trucks. There's probably a sign up here that says road closed at some point, or they will be. I've walked along College quite a bit, but usually on the south side. I'll walk along the north side today. And yes, the north side. I was watching a video, is it Sundays? Maybe? And I kept saying I was heading back south when I was actually going north, so it's turned around. It's not that I don't understand directions, but it is funny. Writing Shards of Excalibur, I once had the characters in the original version. A couple of times I had characters doing things like heading west to Winnipeg, or which of course is entirely the wrong direction, or the sun would come up in the wrong place. Don't know what that is. Maybe in my head I live in a mirror universe. And speaking of in my head, I got some more work done, not as much as I would have liked, on the Tangled Stars yesterday. Oh, somehow the day goes by and I don't get as much written as I'd like. Oh, hello, Miriam, from India. It's a beautiful day here. So I'll be working on that. I have a little nonfiction to work on today too. Nothing much, about an hour's work maybe. And then there's always little things to do, like gotta run the laundry and stuff like that. Always the windiest corner. Wind noise for you. That I can feel it pushing against the foam like a little sail as I walk into the wind. And I suspect the wind noise is quite bad at the moment. I do have an external mic on order, and hopefully that will maybe improve my sound, which has had problems from time to time. There's the Royal Saskatchewan Museum over there, kitty corner. The water sprinkler is going in front of it. Everything, I wonder if they're open. No, they haven't opened yet. In-person dining has resumed, which is nice, but things like museums and the science center and stuff are still closed. This, of course, is Albert and College. This is Albert Street. Main drag goes north-south through the city. long light if you hit it just wrong, which apparently we did today. Someone else is there. Hello. Good morning, Kirk. I just have to stop to read because I really need reading glasses. So between the motion and the bright light, I have to find a shaded place and then stop walking for a second in order to read comments. Unlike Walking Commuter, the guy that inspired this in Manhattan, who manages to read them as he walks, but he's probably half my age. Maybe a little older. Half my age would be 30. He's probably in his 30s. Could be in his 20s, I don't really know. I just had a baby, he might just be in his 20s. Kickstarter stuff, I still got that to do. I always have that to do. Just waiting on stories to come in at the moment, but I do have some backers rewards I could be getting out. Try to get on that. I've got some freelance editing work too. A fellow I've been working with since I was writer-in-residence at the Saskatchewan Public Library, I'm still working with. He just sent me a very long chunk I need to get on. So just walking along College Avenue here, the park's over there, and the lake is beyond those trees. Nice, fresh, springy green now. Just in time for, as I was saying as I started, it's supposed to be 32 today. And then the high by Thursday, I think the high is supposed to be 4 or something like that. And the low below freezing, and a mix of rain and snow. So, I've been saying all along I've seen it snow as late as Victoria Day weekend, and it's pretty close to that. I've walked by those buildings on the other side, more often than on this side. Credit Union building and then the college building, which has the Conservatory of Performing Arts in it. Over here we have grand old houses, most of which have been turned into businesses. Like this one here. Quite a bit of work has been done on that recently. This belonged to, is it the Bronfmans? One of the big distilling, brewing families? I can't remember. It's all in my book, which I wrote. Historic Walks of Regina and Moose Jaw, but darned if I can remember the details. Safe after jaywalk here. And it changed anyway. And some of them, like this house is still a residence, I believe. At least it was a few years ago when it was on the Davin School home tour. Again, over there is the building with the construction trailers in front of it is Dark Hall, which is a performing space. Used to be the main concert hall in the city, and had not really much been done to it for years, and now it's being spruced up inside. It belonged to Dark, who used to live here. This was the Dark Mansion. It's now been added onto, but not finished. It was a funeral home for a long time. Apparently the inside of it is done up like a medieval castle, but I've never been in there. There's Dark Hall. performed in there many times. My daughter's performed in there. My wife's performed in there with me in shows. Her mother performed there, and her grandmother performed there. So, St. Dark Hall kind of runs in our family. In fact, the very first time I was in a play in Regina was in the 80s when my theater company that I was in Weyburn, amateur theater company called Crocus City Theater. There's the college building. Came to the competition here. The Dominion Drama Festival. Although I think at the time we were involved with it, it was just a provincial festival, but it still carried that name. It used to be a national festival. We have a condo in that building over there. And that's where we lived when we first got married. The competition was held in Dark Hall. The way it worked was you would get the theater for the day. You moved in your sets in the morning. If you were lucky, you got in a tech rehearsal, and then you did it for the public in the evening. And then the next morning, somewhere else, while the next group was moving in, after the show, of course, you had to tear down your sets. Then you got to go to the reception. And the next morning, there would be a workshop with the adjudicator. We did a play called, it's supposed to be about 82, maybe 83, called Duet for Two Hands, written by Walter Mills, Haley Mills, if you know who she is, her father. And I played this drunken Scottish surgeon who sewed the hands of an executed murderer onto the wrists of a concert pianist who had lost his own hands in an accident. And the hands kind of took control and changed his personality. So it's that kind of a thing. Very silly, really. Very gothic. Didn't win any awards. The adjudicator said that I had good comic timing. She found me a comedy. That was not a comedy, so I can't decide if that was a compliment or not. And he told our set designer that perhaps for something, a gothic thing set in I think it was in a castle, that drawing room pink was perhaps not the best choice for the walls, which in retrospect seems like an accurate thing to say. And then what was the other comment? Oh, there's the sound stage now up there. Walked by it many times. Used to be another college building. Oh yeah. So the cast, we didn't attempt it. We were all supposed to be Scottish or English, but we didn't attempt to do accents. However, we had one woman who was Scottish and just used her natural speaking voice, and the adjudicator said either everybody should have done a Scottish accent or nobody should have. So there were a few things. Those are the things I remember. He must have said good things, but I don't remember what they were. I just remember those comments. I don't know if we'll go all the way to Winnipeg, but we'll carry on down College here. This is the corner of College and Broad. We've been over into that area down there. On that side, some of the old buildings over there. There's a left turn signal there I have to wait for. There we go. I like this building. Just like the look of it. It's been well kept up over the years. Apartment building. So again, there's lots of old, grand old homes along here, mixed in with others not so grand. Some nice older homes along the way. Nice yard with that sidewalk starting here and then curving around through the trees. Oh, somebody else there that I missed. Winnipeg Jets, okay. Seems a bit random, but all right. And I've walked over there, that's Anglican Diocese. And in St. Chad's there used to be I thought it was a seminary, but apparently not. It's a school anyway. And there's now a bunch of new condos and stuff over there. They're watering the grass on the boulevard on this fine spring morning. I have not watered my grass, which I'm really hoping that they're right about the rain and snow that's coming. I hope we get a good downpour thunderstorm today. They're saying there might be thunderstorms today. All right, well, just to vary things now, I've walked in a straight line for quite a while. I will dip down into the neighborhood to my left. This is Halifax Street. All these streets are named after other Canadian cities. There's Halifax, St. John's. I think there's a Toronto, Ottawa, maybe. We're going to keep winding to the east, though, for a while longer. So I'll go ahead and cross. There's the garbage pickup happening there. Isn't that thrilling? So you can start to see it now. A lot of the old streets here with the elm trees, which have survived so far, despite Dutch elm occasionally being found in the city. Dutch elm disease. They make that nice canopy over the streets, which is cool. When we first moved here from Texas, it always surprised us how closely together the houses were put when you were out in the middle of the prairie and had all that open space. But of course, that's just the developers maximizing their land use. We came from a small town in Texas where it's all ranch style houses with big lots. No, there's a few even here in this neighborhood, as every neighborhood I've been in, you're seeing more and more of these kind of really modern, boxy, rectangular houses, but the older ones are still hanging in there too. All right, we'll go down 15th to the right here. I'm zigzagging my way up towards 13th, at which point I will walk back along 13th. Is the plan. So we're coming up to Regina General Hospital here on my left. This isn't the main entrance, but there's a parking lot here, and there's doctors' offices in that building there. It's attached to the hospital. Used to bring my mother-in-law here when she had a doctor's appointment. That is the Regina General Hospital, this side of it. One of our two major hospitals. The other one is Pasqua Hospital, which I've gotten close to but haven't walked by yet. I walked down the other side of this hospital the other day. Always has that look of a bit haphazard because it's had old parts and additions and various decades. So it's a big sprawling, interconnected complex of buildings. Very pleasant right now. I'm glad I'm doing this earlier. I walked when it was quite warm on Saturday, which was fine. But again, this morning I did not bring water with me, and on Saturday I really noticed that. Nice little shaded courtyard down there. Down in there. I don't know if that's the food area on the other side of those doors or not. And over here it's these older houses still in this neighborhood. This is just a driveway, so I don't think I'll zig along it. Oh, I see another note, if I can read it. Pauline, did you say a small town in Texas? Yes. We moved up here from Tulia, Texas, which is a small town about 50 miles south of Amarillo in the panhandle of Texas, when I was 8 years old. And before that, we lived there for 2 years. And before that, for 4 years, we lived in Lubbock, where my dad taught at Lubbock Christian College. Well, he taught at Lubbock Christian High School. They're called connected. When he left Lubbock, he went to the public school system in Texas, in Tulia. And while he was there, he was recruited to come up to Western Christian College, which was then in North Weyburn. And that's what brought us up here. A friend of his that he'd gone to university with was up here. And they needed a course director. And he wanted to teach in a Christian school again, instead of in the public school. And so we uprooted and drove north for 2.5 days. My mother just about cried when she saw the buildings we were going to be living in, because it was a former Commonwealth Air Training Command base out at the Weyburn Airport. And the buildings hadn't been painted since the Second World War, I don't think. They looked awful. Just a few years after that, all of them were stripped and repainted, and suddenly everything looked much better. But on that first arrival, she wondered what we had gotten into. But then they stayed and lived the rest of their lives in Weyburn. Before that, they'd moved around a lot. With us, obviously. Me and my 2 older brothers. So yeah. When I came up here, I talked like that. And I got teased for it too. And I did not like Canada, and I did not like Canadians, because they were mean and teased me. So, the immigrant experience, there you go. I was in public school. I mean, all my friends at church I was fine with. I had good friends at church, but not so many in school. Not uncommon for people who turn into science fiction writers to have kind of loner backgrounds. It's a lovely cherry tree there. Well, we always, and I was also, I skipped a grade and had a summer birthday, so I was like 1.5 years younger than other kids in my class. And how shall I put this? Smart. And perhaps knew it. And, the Hermione Granger thing. Other kids don't necessarily warm up to that. Yeah, I couldn't skate, and, just took some time for me to adapt. we can walk through this park here, and we will. This is Maple Leaf Park. And a pool here. I don't know what the status of it is. Looks like they're working on it. Clearly not open, but looks like they're renovating it. There was some news story about it. If this was endangered and closed, but they're saving it or something. I don't remember. But they're working hard on it there. Landscaping and down in the pool itself, they're cleaning things up. I'd say they're getting ready for an opening sometime this summer when that's permitted. Never walked on this little piece of path, so this is new. Continue on around this apartment building. And then we will, I guess I did come all the way to Winnipeg, didn't I? The street, that is, not the city with the Winnipeg Jets. Sorry. Is this Winnipeg? I think it is. Sure it is, yes. Winnipeg Street. Nice rubbery pavement here. We have some of this kind of stuff on our porch, and I actually quite like it. The sidewalk leading up to our house is getting quite decrepit. I'm thinking about doing this for the entire sidewalk instead of putting in concrete again. In our climate, it might very well make more sense. And here's 13th, so now we will start back on 13th, although I don't think I can go. Go straight through on 13th? I can never remember. Oh yeah. There's a part that cars aren't supposed to go on, but I can. It says St. Mary's Catholic Church. Never been in that one. Oh heck. I want to zigzag some more. Can't zigzag much more. Victoria's the next one. We're going to walk along Victoria today. I don't think so much. I've done it. Do it again. Let's stay on 13th. This will take us back down, if I stay on it, to just 3 blocks north of our house. Is where 13th is. I get to 13th in Metallic. I'm 3 blocks north of our house. These are all pretty new housing units over here. If you're working at the hospital, they're perfect. And I suspect quite a few people that are work as nurses at the hospital or staff might be living in those. There's a school over here. One of the older ones. I actually don't know the name off the top of my head. And then the nice housing units over here. So this brings us back to the north side of the hospital. We walk down the south side, going the other way. This is the General Hospital. I try to avoid hospitals, but I have been in them once or twice. I've been in this one. Have I ever been kept overnight here? Maybe that once. It's hard to remember. So there it is. That's the hospital from this side. See it over there again. The main entrance is actually, well, there's the emergency on this side, and the main entrance is around the corner from here. I walked down there last time I was over this way. Security guards were having an altercation, verbal altercation with somebody who they were trying to get to leave the premises. And I thought, you know, I don't want to walk down there and stick my camera in that direction, so I kind of abandoned that particular path that day. So again, you see how the trees make that nice canopy in the older parts of town here. And on our street too, on Angus Crescent. As long as we keep the elms. A few get cut down every year for one reason or another. They're kind of at the end of their natural lifespan. Some of them. So yeah, the main entrance of the hospital would be down that way. Another city name street. This is St. John. There's an old one. House, that is. St. John Street. Another note there. Loving the schools. As a teacher by profession. We've got a few old ones left and some brand new ones. And we have dogs. They usually have a comment if I walk by. Now, if I remember my book right, the building over there with the nice brickwork was originally a Hebrew school when there was a larger Jewish population in Regina than there is now. And then it was a radio station for a long time. I think it has doctor's offices in it now. I don't know what this little building on the corner here was originally, but for a long time it was Slate Art Gallery, but they've moved elsewhere. Now it looks like it's a vintage store and coffee shop. I haven't been in there since it turned into that. It's an old apartment building over there. Not terribly well kept up. You get closer to downtown, you get more apartment buildings and that sort of thing. It's nice to see trees showing their flowers just in time. You know, we'll probably get a high wind or snow or something, and that'll be it. They don't last very long around here, it seems like. Halifax Street. So now we're getting into the downtown area. Cherry trees, I would say, blossoming out. It's nice. It's hardly Victoria or Japan, but we have a few. A lot of these. I think they're mountain ash. I think that's what they are. They're the ones that put out red berries later. We have one in our yard. Downtown, such as it is. It's not the tallest buildings. This is Broad Street. There's a hotel there that I'm pointing straight at. Those are condos up there. And these are all office things. We'll go by one more school at least before I get home. Once I get over on the other side of Albert again. We got Broad, or down Broad, I guess, the other way. Our more charming citizens. Hopefully you couldn't hear what he was saying to me. It was not complimentary. So there's that's the Saskatchewan building there with the scaffolding on it. The white one is called the Avery Tower. My optometrist used to be at the top of that. Which was nice because when you got new glasses, you could look out the window and see how sharp everything was off in the distance. It can change over any time. Run into more charming denizens who don't look like they would enjoy being on camera. I don't want to be on this side anyway, further down. See somebody carrying a ferret, I think that was. There's the Saskatchewan building with the scaffolding, designed by Joseph Pettick, one of our noted architects. That's quite the building, that one. I think it was inspired by time he spent in Brazil. Architects down there. And then that's the Hotel Saskatchewan from the back. And oh, what is that church? I always forget. I've been in it many times. I can never remember the name of it. It's been there a long time. Hotel was built in the 20s, so it's about 100 years old. One of the big old railway hotels. I think it was CP. It might have been CN, Canadian Pacific, Canadian National. But I think it was CP. Like the Banff Springs and some of those. Now the Fairmont. This one is a Marriott. Now. Warm enough that being in the shade with the breeze blowing is refreshing at the moment. Hi. Our older apartment building here. The older buildings are mostly brick, but at some point fewer buildings are made out of brick. So if you see a brick one, it's usually, not always, but it's often one of the older ones. So walking down 13th, just a straight shot now until I'm ready to turn south for home. Salvation Army headquarters there on the right. Said before, the building on the left used to have Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists of Saskatchewan in it. And I wrote their history book a few years ago, and my wife is an engineer, and she's a past president of that organization. Although her becoming president came well after I wrote the book. The two things were connected. I guess they call it Haven of Hope Ministry Center. But the actual church is elsewhere. At least it was. I assume that's still, their church is still down right on Victoria. A couple of more blocks up. Maybe this next block, if I remember right. No, it would be the block after that. So that's the Downtown YMCA, which just closed not too long ago. It didn't survive. It was already in trouble. It didn't survive the pandemic. I used to go there. That was my gym. The daycare is still going in there, which was Alice's daycare at one point. There's a couple of nice, well, pools. I don't know how nice they are. They're older, but a couple of swimming pools in there and other great facilities. So I hope it finds a new use. It was built about the time I was born. Maybe the year before, if I remember. Right? And I've outlasted it, so there's that. I guess I haven't outlasted the building, but I've outlasted the Y being there. The curvy building is Credit Union Central. On the other side of Albert up here, the busy street, is 13th Avenue shopping area. Lots of smaller shops. It's where they have the Cathedral Village Arts Festival every year, although probably, again, not, I'm sure it won't happen this year physically, but they do something online, as they did last year. But normally it's a big street fair. The street will be blocked off, and there's all kinds of little stands. And next time they do have a physical one, I might experiment and get myself a pavilion and see if I can sell any books. Cato Books, which is a former publisher of mine that went out of business, used to have a stand. The trick is you have to have a tent of some sort, because it has been known to rain. And you'd have to be prepared to cover everything up in that event as well. And it'd be a long day, so I'd want to have somebody help me out. Manning it all by myself would be difficult. Nice Credit Union Central. Hi. Over here is fire station number 1 with the traditional tower. The tower is supposed to be where they hang hoses to dry. I don't know if they actually use it for that anymore, or if it's just ornamentation at this point. Okay, across the street. This is Albert Street again. And the strip malls. Viet Thai over there is one of our favorite places to get takeout. Next to it is the Cathedral Social Hall, which is one of my favorite places to get beer. Yeah, they're showing the Cathedral Village Arts Festival. There's a sign on the side of the Artisan, that old church up there that's now a performing space. So it's happening in some form. Last time I actually walked down 13th like this, it was in the snow again, or snow still. About a month ago was the last time we had enough snow to stick around for a day or two. So, the old church there is the Artisan now, a performing arts space. Not huge. If you just put in chairs, I think it seats about 150 maybe. If you set it up as a cabaret with little tables and chairs, it's more like 100 maybe. Bleacher style seating at the back. Pews, I guess, really, but Golden Apple Theater, which I used to be on the board of when it was still a going concern, a professional theater company. This was our main performing space when we were still going. Thanks, Miriam. Some of the little stores, craft gallery over there, Traditions, shoe clinic. That used to be a gallery, now it's something else. Paper Umbrella over there sells stationery and stuff. A cup of tea. Next to it is a tea shop. Next to that is a Warehouse Books, which is the New Age bookstore, which, as I pointed out before, is right across from the Christian bookstore. I don't know if they have a deadly rivalry or not. There have been no unexplained lightning strikes, so far so good. That used to be over there, the Oddfellows Hall, and actually performed at it once. Way back when I was first quit my job and went 100% freelance. For 3 years I did, well, maybe even before that might have been. But I was doing some performing with Prairie Opera out of Saskatchewan, and we did at the Cathedral Village Arts Festival, and we also did our show in there. I think I was wearing a giant chicken outfit, so maybe it was a donkey. This is now an ice cream place, which had long lines in front of it from time to time. And that's our new liquor store going up over there. Putting liquor within an easy walk's distance from home. I don't know if that's good for us or not. Safeway is our grocery store. So this is Ritalik. If I turn south here, I will be going straight home. So how long have I been walking? 50 minutes? Well, I think I'll walk up as far as the Cathedral, since this is the Cathedral area, and then wend my way back from there. You can see it up there with the spires. This is our grocery store where we shop every Saturday. Pet store over there. Like most pet stores, much heavier on dog stuff than cat stuff. And the rocket ship on the roof down at the corner is for the Mercury Cafe, which is a hamburger and fries and bacon and eggs, breakfasty kind of place, all that. You see the rocket up there. Over here is Pacific Fresh Fish, where we buy fish. Oh, somebody else. Miriam, say goodbye. Goodbye. There's Florist, where we buy flowers. Brandy's corner store over here has a post office in it, so when I mail out stuff for the Kickstarter, and I've got a lot of stuff to mail out, I'll probably do it there. The other place I mail is usually the Cornwall Centre London Drugs post office. This is Westminster United Church, which has a nice dome that makes for a nice, the auditorium is a nice place to sing. And then like, has the very classic front there. We'll go just past the cathedral and then start our way back. Cathedral through the trees. Penny University Bookstore is now in that building, which is nice. I haven't been in since I moved there, but boy, one of these days, these things are opening up more and more. We were on Albert. And moved here, which I think is a much better location. Down beside the cathedral here, but there's the cathedral. Take a look up at the front. Built in 1910, I want to say. 10 or 14, I think it was 10. And that used to be a nun's residence. There is now condos. All right, moving away from the traffic now. So we'll walk down by Holy Rosary School. So you can go down this side of the cathedral. Definitely not original equipment, the wheelchair ramp. 1910. This is the school's big play area. I think the school's closing. This school, I think. Unless something has changed since I saw a newsletter about it. Hard to be sure. All of a sudden my horizon looks way crookeder than it has. Not much to see of the school here except this mural on the back of it. All right, homeward bound now for sure. This will go just over an hour, I think, when I get home. First walk, I encountered somebody who swore at me, so that's some sort of record, I guess. We got Holy Rosary Community School over here, it says. There are certain parts of the city I would not comfortably walk in. But when you're downtown, you never know who you'll encounter. And I do look a little odd carrying this thing around. Cameron Street. If I walked straight down it, I would hit that good old footbridge I usually use to cross the creek. Four-way stop. It's been nice having several people check in with me this morning. If you're there and haven't said hi, say hi. Running out of time now, just a few more blocks. Had people from both Facebook and YouTube this morning, which is nice. Very few people will watch an entire hour of walking, so people will come and go. When I look at the analytics on YouTube later, I can see that people were with me for 10 or 15 minutes. That's my first unstable internet warning of the day. Wouldn't matter so much if the feed failed now, so I'm close to home. I wouldn't bother restarting if YouTube went down at this point. But it's gone, so YouTube probably stayed up just fine. Another cherry tree blossoming there. My way back to Vitalik. Not as dry as the warm afternoon I walked, but again, I really should start taking water with me. It's not the walking so much as the talking at the same time that's drying out my mouth and throat. Robinson. Next one after that will be Vitalik. Now I have to decide where I'm going to walk tomorrow. I don't know yet. One of these days I'm going to drive over and park closer to the Science Center and walk out to the Science Center where I used to work. Robinson Street, which connects to Leopold Crescent down there. Or is it Ymca? Oh, it actually connects to it must connect to Connaught Crescent, actually. That being the case, I'll just keep walking. Or does it connect to Angus? You'd think I know. I'm sure it's Robinson and then Vitalik, so this has to be Connaught up here. Right, because Garnet is the one that connects to Leopold. So I don't have to go all the way over to Retallick. I'll just keep walking here. It'll take me homeward. So it's 3 crescents, Angus, well, Connaught, Angus, and Leopold. Angus and Leopold are full crescents. Leopold is the biggest because it's the outer one. If you think of them as a semicircle, which they are, so that's a good way to think of them. The Connaught is only a half crescent because it runs into the Davin School playground. Which is directly behind my house, so once we get to the end of this crescent, I'm practically home. I usually walk on the other side, so I walk on this side. Oop. There's a really ultra-modern one here, built right next to that little blue one. Rather cut off their morning sun. I don't know if they missed that or not. It makes it easier to sleep in. But it looks uncomfortably close, actually. So I've always wondered how the people in the Blue House felt when that one was built. I'm sure the people that built the modern one were maximizing their use of their yard, of their lot. Over here, some of them sit at an angle, which is interesting, not flush with the road. If they don't directly face the crescent, they're off a little bit. That's what I'm trying to say. And there you see Davin School. Playground. Crescent School now, but I'll always call it Davin School, where our daughter went to elementary school. There's the school itself. And this is Retallick. So normally I stop facing the stop sign on the other side of the street. It's facing the wrong way, so we'll stop at the corner looking at the back of the stop sign. Almost done. That's the oldest house in the neighborhood, that big one over there. It used to be called the Bishop's House because it was the Bishop's house. Bishop of the Cathedral back there. It's not anymore. That's what it's still referred to. I think it was built in 1910, and everything else around here after that. Our house was built in 1926. There's a really nice big one on that corner. Been in that one, it's very nice. I like the big wraparound porch. Southern. Reminds me of houses in the south. Alrighty, here's my corner. So, thanks for walking with me, if you're still there. And if you watched the recording, thanks for doing that too. And I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.